Good morning, fellow Rotarians and friends. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling so energized and empowered by the presentations thus far. And I want to share my joy with you and hope that you will experience new confidence in yourself and your ability to share the gifts you have been given to others. Here are some foundational principles that I would like to share today, some that have grounded me, personal life experiences that have guided me, and inspirational stories that are the relevancy of my work through Rotary. So let's start our conversation with a few words. Empowerment, gifts, personal investment, and fulfillment. Empowerment, gifts, personal investments, and fulfillment. You're going to hear that all throughout our time together. Robert Quinn says this: we do not reach peak levels of performance by repeating exactly the same processes that have worked in the past. Reaching a level of excellency usually involves analyzing each individual situation and then determining what is right to do at that time for that situation. Most of us seek significant climbs in our performance levels, and we do that by pursuing strategies of incremental investments. But I can tell you that in the land of excellence, they are safely guarded from unworthy intruders. And at the gate stands two fearsome sentinels, risk and learning. And the keys to entry are faith and courage. Do you have the keys to unlock the door today? Because personal empowerment is about taking control of your own life and making decisions based on what you know. But true empowerment comes when you can convert intentionality into action. What are you intentionally doing today that is securing your place for tomorrow? Ask yourself, what am I doing that is empowering me to connect to my present and future purpose? Because when you live each day with intentionality, there's almost no limits to what you can do. You control that way. I've also learned that you can transform yourself. You can transform your environment and the desired impact that you want to make. And you do that by intentionally using your everyday life situations to bring about positive changes. Because what you do, it does matter. And it matters not only to you, but to others as well. For me, it started by one, developing a positive attitude, even a declaration. This is my daily declaration, that my destiny is great. Yes, I'm telling myself that my future, through my vocation, and my calling is connected to my assignment. And I am intentionally positioning myself to make those connections so that it would arrive with my purpose. Next, set reasonable goals. Now, you may have an end goal in sight, but it's the consistent steps towards the smaller goals that will get you there. Then you gotta surround yourself with positive people, people who will make deposits into you, not withdrawals from you. Because people always will move towards someone who knows will increase them in value. Then practice self-care. Self-care is important to maintaining a healthy relationship with yourself. It means doing things to take care of your body, your mind, and your soul. And you do that by engaging in activities that promote well-being, and reduce stress. You will enhance your ability to live fully, to live vibrantly and effectively, because the practice of self-care also reminds you and others that your needs are grounded and they are a priority. And you have to fill your own cup with the right stuff before you can even pour into someone else. Create an action list, because no movement means no improvement. As action speaks louder than words, you can tell where a person will end up watching their daily habits and their priorities. Now remember this: Vision without passion is a picture without possibilities. Now, let me repeat that again. Vision without passion is a picture without possibilities. My work in Rotary makes the vision of my passion possible. So this is my start. My first vocation right out of college was an educator, but I had an awesome high school German teacher. She taught a Sunday school class for special needs children, and she invited me one day to assist her. From that experience, I wanted to become a child psychologist, and I did really minor in that with my undergrad degree. But my conversation with my college advisors always went back to that experience with my German teacher, who also was a mentor. Her invitation to be included and to gain this personal experience was a stepping stone towards my calling. Another more personal experience was Jeff. Jeff is my cousin. He was born to my Aunt Yvonne, who was also an educator as well. I can remember in the season that my aunt gave up her teaching career. She did that to stay home with her baby boy. You see, Jeff was born with water on the brain, known as hydrocephalus. But it showed me the strength and the resiliency of giving up to gain, to nurture, and to advocate for those who were considered marginalized. Sounds like Rotary to me. It was out of that observation of her strength to stay in the game of life, despite this unexpected detour. But I observed her unconditional love, and that made me want to do more and to be more. Both of these experiences shaped the gifts that I am sharing with you today, and the compassion of the fruit I hope I leave with you today. John Maxwell says, when you find your spiritual gifts, God will give you opportunity to use it. And those opportunities would define significant points of passion in my life. Now, our next word is gifts. Gifts. I remember in the season that I had been teaching for several years, and my mentor asked me if I had ever asked what was it I was called to do. Well, you know my response, I'm a teacher. He says, no. Have you ever stopped and asked, what is it that you were called to do? And my repetitive response was, I'm a teacher, kind of like representative, I'm a teacher. But then I realized what he was getting at. He was saying, did you actually every day ask the question, what was I born to do? Have you ever done that? What was I exactly born to do? After taking time to think and meditate on what he had asked, I remember hearing one word, and that word was administration. Now, my immediate response was, I don't know how to do that. I'm just a teacher. And his response was this, Vanessa, continue to be the best teacher you can be. And along the way, your pathway will lead you to doors of administration. Now, I didn't immediately walk out the door running in pursuit of administration, but I can tell you that the gifts inside of me were being cultivated, and my calling was refining my destiny. Where I was positioned at the time was great, as I only knew what I knew. But the seeds of that word, administration, sparked a reset in my spirit. It gave me a pep in my step. And as I strived to be the best me in my present vocation, I could. And I saw that the seeds of my calling, they were being developed, they were being nourished, and they were being cultivated by all of those who were around me, speaking into my life. I can now look back and see that my gifts were used to inspire gifted children, as that was my first teaching job. And then the opposite spectrum of working with special needs children on the autism spectrum, finding creative ways to communicate with them, to unlock untapped potential. There's some in you. I was giving away what was placed inside of me so that others could strive and I could grow in potential at every level. You know, oftentimes we don't know the magnitude of what we have until we look back and realize how our gifts influence change. And that change influenced someone else's life. Okay, now it's your turn. So, what's your life story? Because you have one. Your life is a living epistle for others to experience. And by the way, in case you didn't know, people are reading you all day long. What's in your book? So, what is your calling? And who are you assigned to give it away to? You know, when I meet people for the first time, I ask them to share their story, to tell me who they are and where they're from. I ask them, hey, where have you been? And where would you like to go? Because it's the telling of our stories that often become an emotional connection, pointing for us and bridging the gaps between us and them. You may ask, well, why is that? Well, you know, everyone loves a good story, and we always have one to tell. Stories tell us who we are. So let me take the time to share my Rotary story with you. In 1991, a businessman was sitting across my desk, negotiating a building that I really needed to provide services for our local mental health center. At the time, I was serving as a division director. The next day, my phone rang and my secretary said, Mr. Cross is on the phone. As I took the call, he was inviting me to have lunch with him at his local Rotary meeting. Now, my first thought was, what does a group of men want with an African American woman? All I knew about Rotary was it was a man's club. But little did I know that this acquaintance would fuel my primary love language, which is acts of service. You see, my compassion to serve others was felt by this community-minded Rotarian, and my gift made a place for me to participate in something larger than me. There's a wisdom nugget that I observed, that your gifting creates the door for your calling to walk through. Wow. You see, you're often one relationship away from that door, or maybe it's a bridge or a bypass in your journey of life. But remember that empowerment is the result of being teachable as new skills are being set and forged before you. Prior to my invitation to join Rotary as an early interventionist therapist, I was teachable. I was adapting to various duties that were assigned to me. But I was also cognizant of the market in which I was working and to the job expectations for the duties that were assigned to me. I had to learn, even in my volunteer service, how to master new skills, because mastering the ability to achieve in leadership opportunities, even in my Rotary participations, were placed before me from time to time. And now I can see that I had great mentors along the way, Rotarians that helped me to grow as a person and to become the best me that I could be. But I come back to that word teachable. When you are teachable, you're introduced to new ways of thinking, challenging your limited assumptions, and the sharing of valuable lessons learned. I learned that wisdom speaks and knowledge listens. And now that applied knowledge can be demonstrated in the fulfillment of my callings as a servant leader in Rotary, which leads me to our next word, fulfillment. Fulfillment. Showing people that you care about them is always a good thing. Oftentimes, we forget to take the time to do that. But if you don't make an effort to know them individually, sometimes you run the risk. You run the risk of being like Peanuts character, Charlie Brown, who said this: I love mankind. I do. I love mankind. It's people that I can't stand. How many times have we said that? We tend to appreciate people who can do the things that we admire, and that's only natural. But if we only appreciate people like ourselves, we're missing. We're missing so much more. We should strive to see others' unique experiences and skills as a resource, and then try to learn from them, from their giftings, from their callings, and from their elections. Few things increases the credibility of an individual more than adding value to the people that are around them. You know, I've been in Rotary now for 30 years. I know I don't look a day over 26. But in my work as a healthcare worker, it has paralleled the course. In some cases, it has blended with the mission of my heart. You can't think of community health and not think about Rotary, especially in this global impact world that we have lived in and have experienced over the last 2 years. For me, Rotary is my work of mission. As I travel to India, leading a vocational training team with physicians and dietitians to establish the first dialysis center in Gurda, India, and a province of 1.2 million people. Some said it's an impossible task. Others says it would take a while, and the drive to offer a lifeline to so many in need of dialysis, for me, outweighed the skepticism because lives were weighty in the balance. I saw the first person to receive dialysis. She was a 20-year-old. She traveled 6 hours one way to get dialysis multiple times a week. You know, the bridge to your future is being built now by people who are anointed to help you cross over into the next season of your life. Bridge people are coming. They're coming. For that young lady, I was the bridge builder to life, and Rotary is as well. Rotary has taught me how to build sustainable projects so that others can gain and have purpose as well. You see, through our life experiences, we can see the needs are there. My life experiences have taught me that the gifts inside of me were not meant to stay, not only for my personal gain, but the gifts were meant to be given away to benefit others. Are you giving your gift away? Are you making it the benefit of others? Because we need you. Last month, I had the privilege of hearing 23-year-old Rwanda student, Kyra Fred. He's a Rotary actor, an alumnus from Methodist University in Fayetteville, North Carolina, USA. And the first, by the way, international student president for Methodist. Go Methodist. But on this occasion, he was our keynote speaker at our district conference. And he was talking about his Village Roots Foundation. As he spoke about water, about his water project, and the ability to bring clean water to 3 villages. We're talking about over 4,000 people that now have clean running water because a young 23-year-old saw the compassion and wanted to be the bridge builder to life. You know, water is a precious commodity, clean water even more so. But as I listened that day, I recognized that I heard the words that we hear today, the takeaways: fulfillment, gifts, personal investment, empowerment. For me, he never even asked at the time for financial resources, but I found myself wanting to ask the question, how can I make a difference? How can I add to your charity? For some of us, like me, acts of service means getting there and getting my hands dirty and going to the front line. For others, perhaps it is writing the check. For many, maybe your love language is words of affirmation. But I can tell you for Karatar, it was many things. It was affirming that the people in my villages had a need. It was finding those resources and asking others to be the gift givers, You know, a lot of people have gone further than they thought, and they thought they could because someone else thought that they could support them. All of us have times when we lack the courage. You know, the thought of moving forward in a given situation can stimulate negative emotions like fear and anxiety. Like, can I really do this? Do I have the backbone to stand and see this project through? And sometimes those negative feelings can give rise to even negative thoughts. But I can tell you, don't let fear paralyze you. I used to hear this: fear, F-E-A-R, means false evidence appearing real. For Chiron, he knew, yes, that the water was not clean, but he knew how to get clean water to them. So today, I tell you, the Rotary has been an amazing, amazing opportunity for me. I also remember that I had the opportunity to lead a group study exchange to the Southern Caribbean. Now, it was a rough tour of duty, I know, somebody had to do it, but I had the pleasure of leading 5 young ladies with me, non-Rotarians. I can remember that they were having too much fun, and my thought was, are they really processing the value of this exchange? Are they really knowing that Rotary had put this funding together for them to have this exchange? And I saw that in the 30 days that we were there, as they spoke to over 35 Rotary events, they began to share what the experience meant to them. And I saw with my own eyes that they were transforming and the personal growth that was taking place. For a minute, I thought, they're probably just enjoying the rum too much. And then I recognized that there is fun in Rotary, that is an extra 4-way test. And the fun allowed them also to meet people, to greet people, and to be transformed at the same time. The takeaway for me was this: so many of them, their lives were changed by the impact of being a part of that exchange. But today, that court clerk who went with me saw the court systems in the islands and went back and got her law degree. And now she is practicing law. And with her husband, they are both Rotarians, changing lives in the compassion and giving what they have away. You see, what we do does influence others, and what we do surely matters. So the takeaway today is this: make a commitment to grow daily, value the processes more than the events. Don't wait for inspiration. Be willing to sacrifice pleasure for opportunity. Dream big. Plan your priorities and give up to go up. So I leave you with this: wisdom is a reward you get for a lifetime of listening when you would have preferred to talk. That's my Rotary. Wow, what an opportunity we've had here today. I hope that you can see that you are the one who can make the difference. Have your attitude that you'll be the one that brings the pleasure and the joy to encourage others, to promote others, to help others to see that Rotary is a wonderful opportunity. There's a network of our family, 1.4 million of us around the world. There's not a place that you can go that doesn't know the impact of my Rotary and yours. So today, plan your priorities, plan to make a difference, look at your gifts, see where your gifts have laid a pathway and laid a pathway for others to follow, and give that gift away, because the gift in you were made to give away. They were not meant to be kept. Thank you, family. It's been a joy having you here today. I have confidence. And listen, there are great speakers to come. Stay tuned at that channel. Bye-bye.